The rumble began deep within the belly of the washing machine, a familiar prelude to the weekly tumult among the tumbling shirts and tangled jeans was Argyle, a sock woven from the softest blue and gray wool, distinguished by a single, perfectly placed silver thread near his cuff. He belonged to Leo, a small boy with boundless imagination and perpetually cold feet. Argyle loved the cozy darkness of Leo's shoe, the rhythmic heartbeat of his steps, the comforting warmth he provided. But the washing machine? It was a terrifying, churning whirlpool of soapy chaos, threatening to pull him apart stitch by stitch as the final, violent spin cycle ended and the soggy contents were dumped unceremoniously into the dryer's drum. A surge of primal panic seized Argyle. He felt himself flung against the hot metal wall, and in a desperate, fluttering moment, he caught the edge of the dryer door just as it was slammed shut. With a final, silent wriggle, he slipped out, landing unseen on the cool, dusty floor. Beneath the appliance for a timeless moment, Argyle lay perfectly still, overwhelmed by the sudden silence and the unfamiliar vastness of the laundry room floor. The roar of the dryer started up, a muffled thump that vibrated through the linoleum beneath him. He was utterly alone. The comforting scent of Leo, crayons, grass, and warm toast was faint here, replaced by the tang of detergent and dusty concrete. A profound loneliness, colder than any spin cycle, washed over him. He wasn't just misplaced, he was lost. He thought of Leo's small foot, how it would search for him later in the sock drawer, finding only emptiness. The thought was a physical ache in his knitted core. He had to move, to find a way back. But the towering legs of the washing machine and dryer loomed like impassable mountains. The world was suddenly immense and terrifyingly quiet, save for the relentless drumming of the dryer trapping his kin inside. Driven by a desperate longing for Leo, Argyle mustered his courage. Using the slight elasticity of his wool, he bunched himself up and launched towards the shadowy gap beneath the laundry room door. It was a tight squeeze, scraping his soft surface against the rough wood. But he tumbled through into the dimly lit hallway. Moonlight streamed through a window at the far end, casting long, shifting shadows. Dust bunnies drifted like tumbleweeds across the polished wood floor. He hopped cautiously, one bunched end propelling him forward in awkward, silent leaps. The house felt cavernous at night, filled with unfamiliar creaks and sighs. He passed towering furniture, skirted the edge of a vast rug that seemed like a desert, and navigated the perilous cliff edge where the hallway met the living room carpet. Every sound was amplified, the ticking clock a booming drum, the settling house a groan of giants. Fear prickled along his seams. But the image of Leo's sleepy smile pushed him onward. Exhausted, Argyle finally tumbled into Leo's bedroom. The familiar scent, a blend of old books, crayons, and the unique warmth of his boy, washed over him like a balm. Moonlight illuminated the room, catching dust motes dancing in the air. There, propped against Leo's pillow, was Barnaby, the worn velveteen bear missing one button eye. Argyle hopped silently onto the rumpled quilt, landing near Barnaby's plush paw. He nudged the bear softly. Barnaby, perpetually vigilant, shifted slightly. Lost your way, little sock? Barnaby murmured, his voice a soft, comforting rasp. In the quiet room, Argyle poured out his tale, the terror of the spin cycle, the desperate escape, the lonely journey through the giant house. Barnaby listened patiently, his single glass eye reflecting the moonlight. Leo misses you terribly, the bear confided. He sighed 3 times after lights out, searched his sock drawer twice today. This news both warmed and pierced Argyle's knitted heart. The first pale light of dawn was just beginning to creep around the curtains when Leo stirred. His small hand reached out sleepily, patting the bed near his feet, searching instinctively for the familiar softness of Argyle. Finding only cool sheets, a small, disappointed sigh escaped his lips. Argyle, hidden in the folds of the quilt near Barnaby, felt it like a physical tug. Leo sat up, rubbing his eyes. His gaze swept the room, landing not on the sock drawer, but scanning the floor, the chair, the toy box, his brow furrowed with a worry deeper than just a missing sock. It was the sadness of something familiar being unexpectedly gone. Argyle watched, his yarn heart tightening. He saw the slight droop in Leo Euro's shoulders, the way his small fingers plucked absently at the blanket. The boy climbed out of bed, his bare foot padding softly right past the quilt where Argyle lay concealed. The sight of that small, lonely foot, unprotected and cold, was more than Argyle could bear. Just as Leo turned towards his dresser, probably to search the drawer again with fading hope, Argyle made his move, summoning every ounce of his strength. He bunched and launched himself from the quilt. He sailed through the air in a soft, blue-gray arc and landed with a gentle whump right onto Leo's bare toes. Leo froze, looking down in startled surprise. His eyes widened, disbelief turning into pure, dawning joy. Argyle, he gasped, his voice thick with sleep and sudden happiness. He scooped the sock up with both hands, holding him close to his cheek. Argyle was enveloped in the warm, sleepy scent of his boy, a scent infinitely more comforting than any laundry fragrance. Leo's fingers gently traced the silver thread, the familiar bumps and ridges of the knit. "You came back," Leo whispered, his earlier sadness completely erased by wonder and relief. He held the sock as if it were the most precious treasure, which, in that moment, it truly was. Leo didn't just put Argyle back in the drawer. He carefully, almost reverently, pulled the sock onto his right foot, wiggling his toes contentedly within the familiar softness. The coldness vanished, replaced by shared warmth. Argyle nestled perfectly, every stitch singing with the rightness of being exactly where he belonged. He felt the sturdy shape of Leo's foot, the rhythm of his pulse, the faint vibration as Leo whispered a happy secret to Barnaby. As Leo climbed back into bed, snuggling under the covers, he kept his right foot slightly uncovered, his hand resting gently on the spot where Argyle now resided. The lost sock was found, the small absence keenly felt, now making the presence profoundly sweeter. Argyle knew laundry days would come again, with their inherent perils, but lying there, feeling the steady, trusting warmth of his sleeping boy seep into his very fibers, he understood he wasn't just a sock. He was Leo's sock, and sometimes getting lost only makes the finding and the love waiting at the end of the journey feel infinitely deeper. He was home, worn perhaps, slightly dusty, but cherished all the more for the adventure that had frayed his edges and proven the strength of the invisible thread that truly bound them.